Welcome to Perspectives, where we'll take a deep dive into the issues of the day and where we'll take a look at people's opinion on such issues. I am Bruce Osime.
And I am Majekodunmi-Oniru. Today's topic is related to plastic surgery. Why are so many women undergoing the popular BBL, also known as butt augmentation? What are the unspoken dangers? We have very important discussions which you do not want to miss, and special guests coming up, so please stay tuned.
Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News. When it comes to cosmetic procedures, we have breast augmentation, Botox and fillers, but arguably none have gotten more attention, both good and bad, than the Brazilian butt lift, aka the BBL. In fact, one can liken today's episode as a public safety announcement. Whether attributed to Kim Kardashian, social media, or a general cultural shift, cosmetic surgeries continue to have a major moment. Doctors have also warned that a trend like the BBL, where a person has fat from their abdomen moved onto their hips, into their hips and buttocks to create an hourglass shape, can be deadly. But the truth is, no amount of butt exercises can achieve the result a BBL gives, even though recovery can take months. Also, using injectable fillers for body contouring or body enhancement can lead to serious injury, including long-term pain, infection, permanent scarring, or disfigurement, and even death. In rare cases, dermal filler injections for the face, for instance, have resulted in double vision, dry eyes, or difficulty swallowing or breathing. Some notable BBL horror stories have also risen in recent years, with patients dying from complications from the surgery. Such issues can strike at any time, with some not emerging until years later. So is this bad reputation of cosmetic surgery warranted or just overblown hype? And what exactly can make these procedures potentially dangerous? Bottom line, anyone considering cosmetic surgery should be well informed of the risks and benefits.
Excellent questions. The BBL market is a $2 billion market growing at about 25% annually globally. There has always been increasing pressure in our hierarchical world to look better, to have that perfect body, skin, and hair. Millions of people today have superficial aspirations for a certain body type, breast size, nose, lips, chin, hair, eyebrows, and even teeth. When we change our appearance cosmetically, we change our identity, not just physically, but mentally. When changes are done naturally, such as eating healthy and exercising, there's a wholeness that remains within us that reflects externally. When body changes are achieved through plastic surgery, a very good doctor is very important to minimize the many risks and the many challenges that arise. Over 500,000 people globally undergo the very costly BBL surgery annually. Social media has lots and lots of enhanced pictures from very, very brief appearances that do not show the trauma and the deep regrets behind almost every plastic surgery procedure. The top 3 reasons most people give for regretting BBL surgeries are: 1, recovery is hellishly the worst pain ever. 2, it is very expensive, a waste of money that could have been invested into increasing your standard of living. And 3, many are left with permanent scars, insecurities, and body dysmorphia challenges. In Nigeria, BBL procedures are on the rise, with girls as young as 18 years old opting in. With the lack of effective regulations and essential checks and balances surrounding the industry, many young women undergo severe trauma and many have died. Important discussions coming up shortly, but let's watch the special report. Perspectives, we'll be right back.
Looking good is great business, but having a body many term as sexy can be expensive, especially when one wasn't born with a big derriere. Getting a shape to die for is something a lot of ladies desire, as a lot of people now invest in all forms of surgeries to enhance their looks and bodies. One very common plastic surgery is Brazilian butt lift, popularly called BBL. A butt lift is a surgical augmentation of the shape of the buttocks. BBL involves taking fat from one part of the body that has excess localized fat through liposuction and injecting the fat into or grafting the fat onto the buttocks to give them more volume. While some women are doing everything they can to get rid of extra weight, a larger behind is so desirable in some countries that is fueling a whole industry of creams, surgery, and padding. One of the biggest contributors to the rise in the buttock surgery is without a doubt social media. People see celebrities like Kim Kardashian, who is known for her ample backside, and desire to have her body and fame. The massive film industry in Nollywood has also driven the demand for the perfect butt in Nigeria. Various Nigerian actresses and superstars have added to the popularity of BBL. Today on Perspectives, we will be taking a look at the popularity and safety of conducting such surgeries in Nigeria. Are people properly checked by professionals, as we've had cases of botched surgery operations? The dangers and the growing trend in Nigeria.
Those pictures are amazing. In fact, nowadays when I go to parties and I see, have you noticed everybody wears their corset and then the bum is there? It's almost as if
I'm waiting for you to land.
you're outdated that you don't have, when you don't have a big bum, you know? And some of them don't look bad, but most of them, or rather a few of them, look like they're wearing Pampers.
You're not kidding.
You know, you enter and the bum enters like 5 minutes later and you're like...
I knew you were coming with something.
You know, but the truth of the matter is that even when if you must enhance whatever it is that God has blessed you with, I mean, do it within moderation now. Do you understand?
Sometimes I wonder, do they intentionally go after that, or was it just a mistake?
Obscene.
It is.
Do it within moderation.
It's so popular now.
It is popular, but
driving
draw
that?
a line. I'm not saying don't do it. To everyone to their own whatever. But do it within moderation. Do not do it in such a way whereby it looks as if a whole tray can rest behind you.
But why though? Why do people want that? I've never understood that. Maybe you can shed some light there. What makes women want that?
You know, but the thing is that insecurity comes in different forms. Do you understand?
Okay.
And if you can look better, for some women, if you can look better, why not?
Look better? Like we're saying, it's just this weird shape that follows them everywhere they go.
No amount of exercise can give you that round butt.
It gives you your perfect butt. But why do you want some round butt that is so dangerous, so risky?
What is your
that puts your life at risk?
What are they doing it for? Are they doing it for themselves, or are they doing it for the opposite sex?
Yeah, so what are they doing it for?
And another thing I also wonder is that how does it feel? I'm not a lesbian, so I can't tell what the texture is like, or which hopefully when our guests come in, because I'm curious, does it feel as natural? Is it touch the same?
Exactly.
You know? Because I know that I've had a few friends who have actually done their breast enhancement. This is before the BBL thing became so famous.
Yeah.
And I was, maybe out of curiosity, I felt a few of them. Some of them were hard, and some of them were soft. I'm not a lesbian, no. I'm just saying out of curiosity. Some of them were hard and some were soft. And I remember telling the one whose own was hard, that why is yours hard? Why doesn't it feel natural? Do you understand? And she said she did silicone. Whereas another person who I asked said she did, I don't know, I can't remember whether fast transfer, or there's other ways that you can.
Well, you know, it comes with so many risks. I've had one friend who told me she did it, and she lost every sensation in her nipples. She couldn't feel her nipples anymore. No, but apparently there's a way you can do it now that you can keep the sensation of the nipple, that you can even breastfeed, apparently. Do you understand? But you see, nonetheless, the risks are still there.
Anything to do with body enhancements, face fillers, blah, blah, it's up to you. But what I feel sad about is when I see people who used to be actually quite stunning when they hadn't done anything, and they're now a distorted version.
For me, that's almost everyone I see.
Well,
even with makeup too, but I guess it's just me. I'm just like this whole natural preference
but that's your preference. But
like,
what I'm saying is
I will see your natural hair and say, oh, you look so much better. I'll see your natural face and say, you look better.
A lot of women will not wear natural hair, even if their life depended on it.
Oh, wow.
A lot of women will not go
African women or women?
Women in general.
Globally.
That's why wigs sell. If the natural hair was so popular, nobody would be wearing wigs. But even natural hair is a choice, it's a preference. Whether or not you want to go natural or whatever. But my point is, even if you seek validation or something from a particular look that you want, do not go to the extreme where you are now a caricature version of what you used to once be.
I think you just answered my question.
Yeah.
So it's that there's a particular look people are looking for.
Some
I want
people,
my
not
perfect
all,
look.
not all.
And my perfect look will be that hourglass shape.
Hourglass shape, yes.
And I'm willing to go any length to achieve it, even
That's
if
why
it
they
means
wear
going
those
under the
corsets
knife.
now. They wear those tight corsets, and then it now emphasizes the bum because the waist is smaller, the bum is bigger, the breast is spilling all over the place. And
so the question should be now that what has made women think that their actual look is not.
Well, I think it has gotten worse over the years.
It's not perfect. It's not good enough.
It's gotten worse over the years. There's that pressure.
It's so much worse.
There's that pressure to want to look perfect. There's that pressure to want to have an hourglass figure and have a big bum, have it this, have it that, contort your face, put on.
That you put your life in the hands of a quack doctor and come out looking disfigured.
Not all, though. Not all. We're focusing on the bad ones, but I mean, there are some good ones.
You know, this year alone, we've lost a 23-year-old, a 20-year-old. I was just
remember that girl that came on social media now that had a butt job with her bum. I was hoping we could get her for the show, but she's not available. But she was ready to come out to talk about what happened. So this is almost like a public announcement, safety safety whatever.
Absolutely.
To let people know the dangers involved in this thing, and
they spend so much money, and to get that money, BBL is average $5,000 to like $20,000 depending on the doctor you go to. And a lot of women, especially in Nigeria today, do so much, go through so many lengths just to get that $5,000.
But to some of them, it's worth it. To some of them, it's worth it. It's about self-satisfaction. It's about what makes you happy.
What if you end up being botched?
Well, everything has it.
That money could have gone into increasing your standard of living.
Everything has its own level of risk. Some of them are subtle. Some of them are not so in your face. Some of them are subtle.
There are some you appreciate.
Yes, well, maybe not. It just makes you look better if you feel that way. But a lot of people suffer from body dysmorphia, and a lot of people are not that confident. Maybe the extra butt or the highlighted cheeks or the extra chest
helps them feel better.
Exactly.
But it comes with risk. Even the littlest of procedures, just lip filler alone is.
Oh, that lip filler is another grotesque one if it's not done well. Anyway, we're heading for a short break, but stay with us because when we return, we will have here with us Dr. Stanley Okoro and Dr. Taiwo Olushola Osisanya. Perspectives will return in just a moment.
Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News. Moving on to introducing our guest. First off is Dr. Taiwo Olushola Osisanya. Dr. Taiwo is a consultant plastic and reconstructive surgeon, special grade 1, and the head of the Training Schools, Education, Research, and Statistics Department at the National Orthopedic Hospital in Igbobi, Lagos. Dr. Taiwo is an alumnus of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, and a fellow of the West African College of Surgeons in Plastic Surgery. His areas of interest include upper and lower extremity construction, the correction of post-born deformities, and hand surgery. Very welcome to Perspectives, Dr. Taiwo. Glad to have you here with us today.
Okay. Internationally renowned double-board... Thank you for being here, Mr. Taiwo. Internationally renowned double-board certified plastic surgeon, Dr. Stanley Okoro is known as the bow-tie plastic surgeon with an extensive, well-rounded experience in cosmetic and reconstructive plastic surgery of the face, breast, and body. He has international practice locations in Atlanta, Georgia, Lagos, and Abuja. He has performed over 10,000 plastic surgery procedures. He is certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery and the American Board of Surgery, and is a member of many prestigious, exclusive organizations in plastic surgery. He has received multiple local and national awards, including America's Top Surgeons, America's Top Plastic Surgeons. He was recently voted as the best plastic surgeon in Atlanta. He has authored many topics in plastic surgery, journals, and books. He serves as the president and executive director of Georgia Plastic Foundation, an NGO that provides free healthcare scholarships, computer literacy, youth, and empowerment to underprivileged individuals in many parts of the world. He has organized many medical mission trips to Nigeria. His youthful smile and charm belies his wealth of unmatched knowledge, experience, skills, and surgical wisdom. Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you.
Mr. Why do they call you bow tie surgeon? Eh?
I love to look classy, so I wear bow tie in surgery.
In surgery.
That's interesting.
So if I come and visit you, you can't wear bow tie, you.
I wear bow tie.
I don't want you to be adjusting the tie while you're You're working on my face.
I've been known to tie my bow tie blindfolded.
Are you serious? But it's good to be known for something. But welcome to Perspectives.
Appreciate it.
As you know, this is a very hot topic.
It is.
You know, I wanted the focus to just be on butt lift, but you know, we also have somebody in the house who's also going to talk about dermal fillers. Like I was saying to my co-host, I think that surgery for any woman is a choice. I think where we have a problem is where it's not being supervised enough or it's not being researched enough by the person that you go and visit to do the surgery with. You know, so what are the kind of things that you need to do? How much research do you need to do before you can put your life, literally, in the hands of any cosmetic surgeon?
So that's a very good question. I always tell my friends and my patients, the very first decision you have to make, if you want to undergo plastic surgery, do your research. Do your research very well. First of all, you have to ask the right questions. Is the person doing the plastic surgery even a doctor? That's number one. Is that doctor a surgeon? That's number two. What kind of surgeon is that person? Is that person a real plastic surgeon? So if you can answer those questions, then there's a difference between a cosmetic surgeon and a plastic surgeon.
What's the difference?
Thank you. So a plastic surgeon, like I'm a plastic surgeon, I'm trained in both cosmetic surgery and reconstructive surgery. I was also trained as a general surgeon, right? So I have all the surgical qualifications, I've done all kinds of surgery. Now, because any doctor can call themselves a cosmetic surgeon. And they could be your pediatrician, your internal medicine doctor, your anesthesia, and they have no surgical training at all. So that's the main distinguishing difference. Because of the laws allow any doctor to do surgery. Let me say it again. The law allows any doctor to do surgery, whether they are trained or not trained. And that's the major problem.
But why would the law allow that, especially when you know the person is not very well trained in that particular area?
Well, we have to talk to our legislators to they have to change the rules. The medical act in Nigeria allows for all those things. So that's where it starts. Your legislator have to do all that stuff. We have the same problem in the USA as well. Because when the rules were written a long time ago, people did what they were supposed to do and they did what they were trained to do. It is an honor system, but things have changed over time and the laws have not caught up with the current trends.
Okay.
Dr. Stanley, I like that you have the practice in the US and you also have the practice here too.
That's right.
So can you differentiate with us in terms of regulatory requirements or expectations? What has been done over there that we are lacking here in Nigeria? Supervisory visits, what makes it a stronger practice, or can you give us the comparison?
So, as you probably know, US has a lot of laws, Nigeria has a lot of laws as well. The difference is enforcement and implementation. That's the major difference. It's almost very identical. Nigeria and the US are very identical in terms of culture, multi-racial, everything. It's kind of similar. Even the system of government is very similar. But its enforcement is the difference. And in the US, there are oversight on some things. They actually come on, they can close down your clinic if something happens. So they have OSHA laws. And so if you have a medical practice, there's a lot of regulations and they enforce those laws.
Yes.
Here, enforcement could be a problem.
There are more lawsuits over there than here, I would assume.
Yes, absolutely. In the US, of course, is very, there's a lot of lawsuits.
I can imagine.
And that's not always the same here in Nigeria. So people do get away with stuff here.
Yeah, but there's a body, right? Isn't there a body that is supposed to be overlooking all of this to make sure that when malpractices occur, licenses can be revoked?
In both countries,
because I remember a doctor friend of mine in Lekki was telling me how another doctor down the road that they just came and totally shut his place down, took out all his machines and closed the place down literally. There's also the incident of the girl who had a botch job and she called out a particular doctor, which we were discussing earlier on. Right. And I hear that this same doctor still practices.
Again, that's the enforcement problem. The MDCN is the organization in Nigeria that regulates the doctor's licenses. They have that authority to do that. And I think they do a fairly good job, but
they need to do more.
They need to do more, but they also may not have the resources. I know that for sure. They don't have the resources to enforce. I know they register very well, very good man, but they may not have the resources to enforce their own laws.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we have another guest in before we focus on just you. So is Dr. Taiwo there? Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Give us a smile.
I'm there.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Okay.
fine.
We were just discussing
Thank you for
BBL.
having me.
Thank you for being in perspective. We're just discussing BBL, and I know that in your case, you do dermal fillers. Please, I have to ask one question. There's a particular filler that you put around the eyes here somewhere, where the women now look as if they've been punched. They just come from a punching room. So when they do these fillers, why do their eyes look sunken and unnaturally swollen? And how long does it usually take for the face to now finally settle down?
Well, I'll start by answering by saying the desire to have cosmetic surgery is actually a patient's choice. But the duty, the onus is on the practitioner to determine whether the patient's choices are realistic or not. You've mentioned the body dysmorphia disorder. These are patients who have this obsessive idea. I underline the word obsession, obsessive idea that certain body parts are flawed and you need to do extreme things to correct that. It's a mental health disorder. And when you evaluate a patient as a surgeon...
We're unable to hear you, Dr. Taiwo, so we'll come back to you. Dr. Stanley, so it's been said that the fat being removed from women's bodies, especially when they're doing the liposuction, is dead fat. Once it comes out of the body, it's dead. So it's dead fat being injected into other areas of the body, which causes complications over time. Can you correct this viewpoint?
So essentially what a BBL is, as you probably know, is when we move fat from one area of the body that we don't want and put it in areas that we want, like the hips and the buttock. The fat is not dead. When the fat is removed, it loses its blood supply temporarily, but it's still alive.
For how long?
Well, that's a question of the debate. The fat has been known to last several hours outside the body before it starts to go through what we call necrosis, right? So it is still alive.
So is it instantly preserved?
Yeah,
as soon as it's removed?
It's kept in a sterile container with fluid that keeps it moist. So it's not a dead fat. Now, if you keep it out for too long, it could die.
Okay.
Yeah.
They said BBL comes with many risks. And there are different types of BBL.
That's great.
Do you understand? So can you explain the different types, one? And then also, can you explain what fat embolization is and what suffering a seroma means?
So
first tell us about the different types and why you think some of them are not safe.
Yeah, so again, the most important thing is who is doing the procedure, right? If you go to a doctor that's not well qualified to do it, they can inject fat in the wrong location, like the veins and the artery, and that can travel into your lungs and have fat embolism. That's what you're talking about. Okay. Many patients have died. That's what makes it very dangerous. It is potentially the most dangerous plastic surgery procedure because if you're in the wrong location because you don't know your anatomy, the person can die. Now, if it's also done in a non-sterile environment, you can get infection that can lead to sepsis. Right? And then the infection can lead to the disfigurement where we actually now have to remove all of that dead skin, all of the dead fat, and now you went in to look good, now you look horrible. So that's the main difference. Now, a lot of times people mistake BBL for other injections, like silicone injections or hydrogel injections. Those should never be done.
So those are not safe and they're not
Those
legal.
are not safe. You don't want to inject anything like that in your butt.
So the only thing that is safe is fat.
Fat or silicone implant.
So BBL, that is the most deadly plastic surgery, is the safest.
Say that one more time.
BBL, which is being classified as the deadliest plastic surgery in the world, is the safest.
It's safer.
No, it's safer if you do. It's safer. It's safer if you do fat transfer,
which is BBL.
It's the BBL.
Yes, it's BBL. But unsafe
again,
ones and
it's like
ones.
I always use the analogy of a car. If you put, like most of us drive very well, a car could be deadly. If you put a child behind the car, don't know how to drive, it could be deadly. So the safest BBL is done by a doctor who's trained and qualified and experienced in doing it. If you put it on the hands of somebody who's doesn't know what they're doing, is very deadly.
And then there are some that shouldn't even be done. Those
Exactly.
injected ones and what have you.
The silicone injections, they have.
But who is an ideal patient for BBL? And I think we should bring in Dr. Taiwo. Dr. Taiwo, are you there with us? Dr. Taiwo, can you describe an ideal patient
I'm
for
here.
BBL? Many people have regretted their decisions in doing BBL. We know it's very risky. If you have obesity, if you smoke, stay away from it. So who's an ideal patient?
Well, I am not sure you can say a patient is ideal. Like I said before, we had problems with transmission of sound. A decision to alter your body, it's a personal choice of a patient, but there are certain things that must be in place to ensure that that process is carried out safely. The first one is you need a doctor who is properly trained. That is the minimum that you can have. 2, the doctor would have to practice in a setting in which it is safe to do surgery.
I agree.
So Dr. Stanley has already mentioned about the issues of infection. If your theater is not properly designed, is not properly structured for that procedure you want to do, there are chances that there may be an infection. So I think
but I
you
want
also
you to touch
need to
on the
make sure that the patient has. Yes, the patient needs to be fit for surgery. 1, 2, you need to rule out certain pre-existing medical conditions that may impact negatively on surgery. That is where a trained surgeon comes into place, a trained plastic surgeon, because you are aware of the potential morbidity or mortality that may occur. You watch out for those factors that may cause those problems during the phase of surgery and immediately after surgery, and you try and put certain measures in place to prevent those things from occurring.
So what makes a patient fit
if you are
for
not
surgery?
properly trained? Well, there are a lot of parameters. You need to assess the patient psychologically, make sure the patient doesn't have a body dysmorphic disorder.
Important.
Because those type of patients have unrealistic expectations and they pressure you to do more than you should. If you are properly trained, you should be able to resist that pressure or tell the patient to go elsewhere.
Okay, when
2,
that happens,
the patient must have what you call a normal blood level, must be free of any focus of infection around the area where you want to operate. The patient must have proper renal, proper cardiac, and proper liver functions. There are tests you do for that.
Okay, can I ask you, doctor?
Some patients have, yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you have before and after pictures?
Okay.
Like, do you have before and after pictures? In other words, if I came to you now, for instance, and say I want a bust enlargement or I want a facial, whatever, would you show me a picture of how I look now and how I will look after I have done it? Do you have pictures that can guide patients on how far they want to go with the operation?
Usually in plastic surgery, it's for virtually any procedure, you show before and after. Occasionally, with the permission of patients who've had the similar surgeries, you can show the prospective patient. This is what you look like. For someone who has a similar body type, this is what you will look like afterwards. I mean, for patients who want to use implants, you can show them the various sizes of implants and project what they will look like after surgery. So definitely, if someone is, say, hypothetically looking for like maybe a grade 4 size, you can advise the patient that based on your bone structure, on the amount of muscle you have, the type of skin quality you have, it may not be advisable to use this type of implant or use this type of, dermal filler. So that's part of the preoperative consultation.
Okay. We're going on a break
patients
now.
are required to also ask questions.
Okay. We're going on a break now, so please don't go anywhere. Those of you that want to try this thing, set your ear, make you listen. So we'll see you right back soon. See you in a couple of minutes on Perspective. Okay, we're discussing before, we were also on break, about bust jobs. How can you tell a bust jobs, and why Why does that happen?
So a botched plastic surgery procedure is, most likely a lot of times it was done by somebody who's not trained to do it. And how can you tell? Of course, there's so many ways. One is for the liposuction, you can see a lot of lumps and bumps, what we call contour irregularities. For the BBL, which is the topic of this discussion, is when you have the hips way out of proportion than the thighs. It looks like they're on a tower.
Some of them look like you threw a bar at them from both ends.
So the butt is, when you enter the room, like you're saying, when you enter the butt follows
5 minutes later.
Yeah, exactly. So those are, it's about, body, what I call body harmony. When it fits, it looks classy and not trashy. That is so, like Dr. Taiwo was saying, it's a patient's choice, but as a board certified plastic surgeon, I can say no to a patient. I say, no, that's not normal, because they will regret that later on.
Yeah, but people like Kim Kardashian, they reduce theirs.
Yes.
Like you were saying, some people are even reversing what they once did.
I'm doing more BBL reduction and reversal now than I'm doing BBL.
Why is that?
Because of the trend. Like
it's
social media,
more natural.
People are realizing that they made a mistake or they went to the wrong doctor and now they look really horrible, right? And they're coming to reverse it. And most of them, luckily, are able to. It's less expensive to reverse it than it is to do it.
It's less expensive to reverse than it is to do it.
Would you say it's an art to get it right?
It's an art.
But how much does it cost, though?
For what?
To do a correct BBL, with a good doctor?
It really depends.
On average.
It depends on the doctor. The more experienced, the more trained, the more educated the doctor is, the more.
Give us a ballpark
So
idea.
I will since the naira is up and down, let's use dollars, which is most.
Okay.
So I'll probably say about $10,000 plus or minus 4,000.
10,000. It better be worth it too. I cannot pay $10,000 and not be having problems.
No, if I do it, you're gonna get a great result, right? Because I've done over 1,000 of these.
I have a question for Dr. Stanley. Dr. Stanley, are you still with us?
Dr. Taiwo.
Dr. Taiwo.
Taiwo.
Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Taiwo.
I'm still around.
Dr. Taiwo, let's talk about the pain that many women have gone through post-BBL and the recovery period. It's been described as a very hellish pain. And
Beauty
is pain. It's one of the biggest regrets a lot of women have said was the reason why they would never do it again. So can you speak on that? What causes so much pain and how they can recover faster?
Well, you need to realize that when you do a BBL, you are moving fat from one location to another location. Yes, be it that it may be that it's your own, fat. In the post-op period, there is a lot of swelling of tissues. So you have swelling, you have compression of nerves, sensory nerves in that region, you have inflammation. So like most surgeries, you tend to have pain that results from the swelling that occurs from your surgical procedure. In BBL, because you are operating on an area that is quite extensive, you would have much more pain than anticipated.
Okay.
Of course, there are certain instructions you are given post-op. There are certain devices you are supposed to put on in that region that should control swelling, control the inflammation. So when patients do not stick strictly to those instructions, or even the physician who is not properly trained doesn't take the time to educate you, you tend to have that pain. And on the average, it may take you anything from 6 weeks to 3 months, if it's properly done, for the swelling in that area to subside enough to offer you some relief from symptoms.
And they cannot sit on their butts for a minimum of 6 weeks?
You cannot do that because for all those reasons.
I want to ask a question that I know that...
You can't do that.
Dr. Taiwo, I want to ask a question that I know that some people just say, please, they say you're not supposed to put any pressure on this butt whilst you're healing. You're not supposed to have you have to sit somewhere, you have to sit, they have a particular bag or whatever they give you to sit on.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? You have to lie on your stomach.
Yes.
No pressure whatsoever.
Yes.
So please, what do you do about sex?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to abstain from sex? Because there will be some pressure on your bum if you're having sex. So do you abstain from it?
I would assume.
Once you're
But
healing? It's just a curious question.
Well, you may have
it's a
to.
good question.
You may have
What would
to
you
abstain
advise
from
your
sex.
You may have to.
May have to or should?
You may have to, or you may have to get creative with sex positions.
I could tell from the smile on your face that you came up with lots of ideas. Another thing I want to ask you, when we're talking about fillers on the face, I've been told that after a while you can't stop, because like I was saying to Dr. Okoro, that when you stop certain things and your skin has expanded, does it not now make it withered if you do not continue the process? When you put fillers on your face after a while and you now stop, is it going to make you look older? Because somebody said that if you stop using fillers, your face will now look like pure water sachet after you stop using it. So how credible is that?
You see, what brought about the use of fillers? As you get older, the distribution of fat in certain areas of your face reduces. So that's why you tend to have the prominence of certain natural folds in your face. As you age, your face will not be as smooth as it was when you were young.
Yes, we know
So
that.
fillers are actually supposed to, yes, the challenge is even you've put in a filler, the body is still aging.
Yeah, but when you stop, would you
So
now
there's
look
a
older?
tendency.
Would
Yes.
you now look even older?
If it's properly done, I don't think you should look older.
As in some people,
I don't
because some
think
people
you
can
should look
decide that
older,
they don't want to
yes.
do it anymore. They can decide they don't want to use those fillers anymore. So there will be no telltale or after effects.
Well, if it's properly placed, I think the patient will just keep on aging naturally.
Oh, okay.
If it's properly done,
Okay.
it shouldn't have any bearing on that.
Okay, speaking
Dr.
of
Stanley,
fillers,
It is
you have
those
something
who
to add?
want to, yes.
So the key is if it's properly done. If it's properly done, it should continue to age. The aging process doesn't stop. But the problem is a lot of people are not doing the filler properly, and that can actually create what we call lymphatic blockage, and your skin can actually age faster.
yeah, because I've seen people who
Yes.
stop doing fillers,
Yes.
and their folds or their lines became more obvious.
But some of those fillers, if it's placed in the wrong location, can actually migrate.
Like what parts of your face shouldn't you place fillers on?
So around your eyes, you don't want to put it right under the skin, because it will show. You show a tint. You have the bluish tint to it. So you put it. For me, when I do what is called a wide lift. Put it right deep, actually on the bone, or deeper.
Show us, just describe.
Right here. So
Okay.
depends on what we're trying to enhance. So for me, I'm especially trained to do the deep fillers, which most people are not, right? So if you put it deep enough in the fat, it's fine, right? But you shouldn't put it right under the skin, because then it's gonna change the structure of the skin. It might affect the blood flow of your skin, and some people have had skin necrosis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like the filler can migrate into the blood vessel and block flow to the skin. You can get blindness.
Oh, wow.
Some people have gone
Wow,
blind.
yeah, I've heard
and
about
on
that.
the nose, we have skin necrosis on the nose.
Can you put fillers on the nose?
Yeah.
How? Where?
We put it right here. It's called a non-surgical rhinoplasty.
So what does that do when you put it on the nose?
It enhances the shape of the nose.
Interesting.
Oh my God!
Yes.
But there's no fold. There are no lines on the nose now.
Well, it's just again, you have to put it in the right location so it looks good. Now, if somebody who's not trained to do that, and I've seen a lot of skin necrosis or lip necrosis.
What does lip necrosis look
It's
like?
like when you have a dead skin.
But why did they have that thing under here? That is from here. The thing is just swollen.
Yes, because it was placed in the wrong location.
Oh, so they shouldn't place anything around here.
You can put it here, but it's got to be deep, not under the skin.
Oh,
Dr.
okay.
Stanley,
Yes.
let's be honest about how very expensive this can get. We've seen women who would save up and do whatever it takes to just get that money just to enhance certain features, and they end up not liking it, or they have to go back for more and more. You just described the fillers procedure. If you stop, it gets worse, so you sort of have to continue. Let's be honest about how expensive this gets.
So
it's not just that initial 10,000.
Yeah, plastic surgery is designed for those that have expendable income. It's not designed for everyone.
No shortcuts.
Yeah, you know, if you are having problem putting food on the table, you shouldn't be having plastic surgery. If you have extra money to spend, because sometimes things may not come out the way you want it to do, and you're going to need to spend that money to fix some issues and stuff. So it is an expensive, it's an elective procedure.
But even that, we also have those that suffer from body dysmorphia. Because like I was saying to her earlier on, that there are some people I know that actually were much more attractive before they did plastic
They have to keep
surgery.
going back because they won't like what
It's
they
like
see
it's
constantly.
never enough.
Yeah, just like Dr. Taiwo mentioned, you know, we have to evaluate the patient. And I say no to a lot of people.
Okay.
I say no to a lot of people.
Okay, so you should be able to know when to say no.
An ideal patient.
The good attribute to a great surgeon is knowing when not to operate.
Exactly.
Knowing when
Absolutely.
to say no.
It's not all about money.
It's not about money. Life is not about money. It's you know, I do this because I love what I do. I actually enjoy it, but you have to say no to certain people. No means no. You're not a candidate. You have to be adult, realistic expectation. You're healthy. You have no other medical problems. So you shouldn't be doing plastic surgery if you're having chest pain or heart problems.
Or of the smoke as well.
you smoke,
What about alcohol? If you drink as well, can you do plastic surgery?
Alcohol. If you're a social drinker, it's okay. But if you're drinking every day, because that can affect your liver as well.
But please, I have to ask you this one: does it sag? Does the bum sag after 5 or 10 years?
So
do you have to keep going back?
So just like anything in life, right? Your body is aging. Again, if it's done properly, it should be okay. Your body, it grows with your body, right? But if it's done excessively, or worse, it's done with all those other substances that we're talking about, like silicone injection or hydrogen injection, those things can actually migrate and cause problem for you. Or if it's done too much,
When you say migrate, what do you mean?
It moves from one area to another.
Oh, okay. So the bum cannot become flat again?
If it's done with the wrong material, yes.
Okay.
And then if it's so big and you're growing, you change. But if it's done properly with fat, it should look good. I've had patients I've done like 10 years ago, they still look amazing.
Oh, okay. So in other words, if you use normal fat, it feels natural.
That's right.
It's when you do injections and do silicone injections that it doesn't feel natural when you hold it.
Or you do too much fat. There's
okay.
too much of
What does too much fat do?
When you have then you have skin necrosis and it's too big. There's some, you have to do things in moderation.
Absolutely.
You know, if it's too much, then it's too much, and you're gonna have problem with that.
Okay, but what does this do that for where's Dr. Taiwo? Are you there, Dr. Taiwo?
I'm still online.
Please, I want to ask. I mean, I might sound like a novice, but what does face fillers do that acupuncture cannot do? I know.
That is, well, you see, I know you use face fillers. I think you tend to get an expected result that is faster than if you use. I'm not a specialist in the field of acupuncture, but I think acupuncture goes to specific nerve points, and you induce the release of certain substances that alters blood flow and then causes changes in the areas of the body that blood flow goes to. I think the fillers will give you a much more rapid result.
So one is just faster in results
maybe
than the
faster
other.
than you will
But
get.
at the end of the day, it's the same result.
I think the initial outcome, well, I would say you in the long run you may achieve the same result.
But Dr. Okoro,
I would totally
differ.
disagree. Acupuncture would not give you a facial rejuvenation. I've never seen that. There's no data to suggest that.
Okay, what does acupuncture do?
People use acupuncture for relaxation,
pain relief,
but it's not designed to
For
beauty.
feel fat. It doesn't build fat. So acupuncture has no role.
But does it not make your face more relaxed, thereby giving you a better appearance?
You can relax, but if you have facial aging and you've lost fat, acupuncture is not going to bring that back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can use facial filler or fat to do that as well.
But
do fat in the face.
According to age,
Yeah.
do you understand? At what age is ideal to do fillers? I mean, can you do it when you're 20, or is it better when you actually start having what they call that thing, lines?
Lines.
What is the ideal age?
So the ideal age is an adult. The reason why I said that
Adults
is
being what age?
well, you know, it depends.
Like my age?
I don't know. You look so young, but you don't need anything. But the thing is, people have different genetic predisposition.
Okay, yes.
Right. So I have some patients who are in their 20s.
20?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because their genes, I have patients who are 20s have more loose skin than some of my patients in their 40s.
Wow.
So this is a very, customized treatment.
From fat, loose skin, from excess fat?
Just some people,
What causes
their
a
skin
20-year-old?
age faster.
Maybe
20-year-old?
hereditary.
Hereditary.
Maybe
It's just your genes. How
Just like people who
what
have white
was
hair.
given to from your parents down. So some people look like some people look better, and I know some 40-year-old that look better than some 20-year-old, and vice versa. So it all depends. So an adult who is normal health, no unrealistic expectation, and who desires to look better and can afford it. That's who should
Final
get it.
question for you. Would you advise women you love to get the BBL?
Absolutely, if it's done.
He just told us that he's done. Anyway,
That's
let's-
right. Yes, that was offline.
I don't think she. Yeah, no, I've done BBLs on people that are very close to me,
Okay.
and I have done it personally. I've done BBL on me and my
What do you mean
friends.
you've done it personally?
I've done it. I've
Done it for
I've-
people
Okay, I thought you
love.
meant you yourself.
No, I can't do BBL myself.
Speaking of which,
You can't do
men-
BBL on
do men
yourself.
do BBL?
Yes.
So, yes.
They do?
Even breast
Yeah. So
surgeries.
there's men do for different reasons, depending on
Why on
which.
earth would any man want to have a butt?
Okay, so
Big butt.
there are some men. Plastic surgery.
unless-
let me just tell you, plastic surgery.
the last
Some people think plastic surgery is just for vanity, right?
Yeah.
There are some men that don't have butt; their pants can't stay on their hips.
Oh.
and
Yeah.
you go and do BBL.
Yeah,
Very
they do
interesting.
just to look better. It
But they
just-
can, wear,
Right.
they can wear pants with
around it.
butt extensions.
Oh, but they don't want to wear extensions. And in certain part of the world,
But why would they do breast? though?
breast reduction. Breast
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
And in some part of the world, there's other people that do other things to change man to woman, but we
Well,
don't do
that's
that.
another
Thank you
topic
so
for another
much.
topic.
Yeah.
But
This
thank you
was a
so
great
much, Doctor. I wish
episode.
there was enough time to
Absolutely.
press deeper. But and we hope that those who are listening can see the pros and the cons.
Can I
because
say
it's not
one-
just enough to see the
Thank you to
insides.
Dr. Taiwo too. He's
Yeah, Dr.
on
Taiwo,
Zoom.
thank you so much for being with us. Give us a smile before you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taiwo. So you were saying?
I was just going to say the last thing is that the most important thing I hope the people will get out of this is please do your research well.
Yes.
Please do your research before you select a doctor to do any cosmetic surgery for
Absolutely.
you. Because
Thank
it
you so
could your life can depend on it.
Yes.
Really.
Absolutely.
That's my
Thank you
only,
so
only
much,
message.
Dr.
Thank you,
Okoro.
Dr. Stanley.
Thank you. So, this has been an interesting topic. So, though society sometimes rewards beauty on the outside cover over health on the inside, people should be careful not to let short-term beauty fix or harm their long-term health. Beauty and sexuality are both commonly misunderstood as some transcendent, inevitable facts. Falsely interlocking the two makes it seem doubly true that a woman must be beautiful to be sexual. That's not true. The definitions of both beautiful and sexual constantly change to serve the social order, and the connection between the two is a recent invention. If enhancing your look gives you more confidence, all well and good. But the attraction and the appeal of a woman or anybody should not only come from the outside, but more importantly, from the confidence that they have inside. That's all we have time for today. And always remember, life is a learning curve. You've been watching Perspectives here on the Rise News with me, Ruth Osime.
And with me, Olatorera Majekodunmi-Oniru, the most beautiful of beauty is all of you in all of your wholesomeness. True beauty is your internal confidence, your glow, healthiness, and mental wealthiness projected outwardly. True beauty is the love and care you give yourself to achieve your desired results. True beauty should not be a deadly competition with the next girl that lands you in a risky plastic surgery center. Push your dreams in a focused, ethical, intelligent, and confident manner, and all your heart desires will manifest gorgeously. Intrinsic happiness and greater humanity are two keys to a better world today. Our world needs a much stronger dosage of healthy love, care, and happiness. Thank you for watching Perspectives. Thank you to our special guests for joining us today. Have a great weekend and see you all very soon. Goodbye.